Katie Price has swerved jail after admitting a 5 a.m. drunk car smash despite being banned from driving. It is the sixth driving conviction for the mum of 5 in the last 10 years. The former glamour model, 43, even confessed to cops at scene of the car crash she had taken drugs and shouldn't be driving. Fans were horrified after seeing pics of the one-car collision back September near her home in Sussex, with Katie herself admitting she could have killed herself or someone else. Katie pleaded guilty after being charged with driving while unfit to drive through drink, using a motor vehicle on a public place without third-party insurance and driving while disqualified. Her sentence was handed down today at Crawley Magistrates Court. She arrived at the court wearing a pink t-shirt, light trousers and trainers and a long blue puffer coat. Her mouth and nose were covered with a face mask and her engagement ring was noticeably missing as she held her left hand up to her face. Announcing her sentence, District Judge Amanda Kelly said, "When you chose to get behind the wheel that night you showed no concern for others. You could have killed somebody. Your actions meant the emergency services had to use up their precious time. You knowingly and deliberately flouted a court order and not for the first time. You seem to think you are above the law." District Judge Kelly has sentenced Katie to a 16 weeks prison sentence, suspended for 12 months. Katie will also have to undergo 100 hours of unpaid work in community. Her driving ban has been kept to 2 years and Katie will not have to take an extended driving test. There will be no separate penalty for the charge of driving without insurance. Sussex Live reports Katie was stood alone in court. The court heard a witness to the crash, a Mr. Marchant, had pulled Katie from the wreckage. He said she had fallen into the passenger seat and the car was on its side. Mr. Marchant managed to remove a window and pulled her from the damaged car. Police arrived soon after. Prosecutor Jonathan Karani said Katie said at the scene of the crash, "I was just going to a friend's but I know I shouldn't be driving." The prosecution added that Katie had an alcohol level from a breath test of 66 milligrams, almost twice the legal limit of 35 milligrams. She had consumed cocaine, vodka and lemonade before the crash. The prosecution added, "There is no evidence Katie Price has been anything but cooperative," referencing the ongoing proceedings. Defense barrister Joe Harrington told the court, "This is a lady with an awful lot going on." Mr. Harrington referenced the fact that Katie has 5 children as well as ongoing court matters with regards to bankruptcy. He added, "Things tend to be complicated with this lady." The Star's defense barrister has asked for the court to consider imposing a community order or a suspended sentence, as well as a drink-drive rehabilitation course. Ahead of sentencing, Judge Kelly had told Katie was extremely lucky that his sentencing had been deferred. District Judge Kelly said, "I cannot send you to jail today even though you may deserve to spend Christmas behind bars. You are extremely lucky the magistrates on a previous occasion decided to defer their decision." Katie had previously been warned that she was facing jail time. At her last appearance, Chair of the Bench Julie Hutton had agreed to deter her sentencing until today on the condition that she had treatment at rehab facility The Priory, not commit any further offences and be banned from driving in the meantime. Ms. Hutton warned, "We regularly send people to prison for driving whilst disqualified. The court was told at the time that when confronted by police at the scene of the collision, Katie was heard saying, "I took drugs, I should not be driving, I admit it all." Prosecutor Debbie Jones said a drug swipe had produced a positive reading for cocaine. The court also heard that a roadside breath test taken by Katie following the accident was positive for alcohol. An image of a car flipped on its side was released by police at the time. They'd been called to the scene at around 6:20 a.m. that morning, and Katie was arrested on suspicion of driving while above the legal limit of alcohol or drugs and was taken to hospital. Defense solicitor Joe Harrington had said, "She has had a lot of personal problems recently. Currently she is in the process of bankruptcy proceedings, so her house may be repossessed. So quite a lot going on in this lady's life, a really difficult period." Katie went to the Priory after the hearing, and it was reported in November that she'd completed her treatment. That same month, she jetted off to Las Vegas with fiancé Carl Woods, sparking rumors that they were going to tie the knot. They staged paparazzi pictures as they picked up a marriage license and as Katie went wedding dress shopping, and also shared footage on social media as they visited a chapel. But they later admitted the whole thing had been a prank. They both released statements saying they had intended to fool the media into thinking they were going to get married and that they wanted to document how easy it would be to tie the knot in Vegas. Katie then accused the media of causing her to suffer from anxiety and negatively impacting her mental health. But they were met with a lot of backlash from fans. One wrote, "I'm sorry, but they deliberately did what they did for newspaper inches and it worked. Crying about it now is just ridiculous." Another penned, "Both attention seekers who would be nothing without the press." A third fumed, "I always hated the way they have both had so much hate. As I always say, be kind, but I think enough is enough now, sorry." Even their journey had caused chaos, with the pair reported to have been thrown off a plane after Katie refused to wear a face mask. A friend of hers later said she had been on the phone to her children before takeoff and taken her mask down so they could hear her clearly. They claimed she was finishing up her call when cabin crew told her she needed to wear a mask, and that claims she was thrown off the plane weren't true. They said she chose to get off the plane as she hadn't finished speaking to her kids, and got the next flight out instead.